Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to Chelsea Fan TV. Welcome to another live stream. Big up to everyone that's locked in. Make sure you smash the like, subscribe if you're new around here. All of that good stuff. And it feels like it's been ages since we've played. I really don't miss this playing once a week thing. Can't wait for us to be back in action on Thursday night against Copenhagen. But there is a little bit of transfer news to go through. I know it's only March, guys, but the links have already started with summer transfers. And of course, work is probably taking place behind the scenes and planning for the summer window already, because before you know it, it will be on us. We're going to address the latest links with Atletico Madrid midfielder Pablo Barrios, and also links to Brighton's Bart Verbruggen in goal. I mean, because what transfer window wouldn't be complete without a Chelsea link to a Brighton player? But before we dive into that, let's say hello to a few people in the chat, and then we'll get cracking. Yes, big up to you, Jordan. Chelsea have hired Arsenal's Mark Mason. Yeah, they have. We're making a lot of hires in the backroom team. We've got 3 central midfielders in our squad. Well, KDH and Amugu won't be here next season. Look, again, by the way, I would take this very lightly, these links with a move to Pablo Barrios. I'd be shocked if that happened in the summer. I really would be. Yeah, I certainly would as well, and I hope that is what happens. But let's start with that goalkeeping situation, because there's been a report in Give Me Sport, an exclusive from them, and it says Chelsea are refusing to rule out the possibility of attempting to sign Bart Verbruggen when the transfer window reopens in the summer, as the Brighton and Hove Albion star is on their radar as they contemplate luring a new first-choice keeper to Stamford Bridge, Give Me Sport sources have revealed. Well, it's interesting that, because we were told by multiple different journalists who obviously are big on Chelsea stuff, that Chelsea wouldn't be signing a new goalkeeper this summer. So was that a smokescreen for this, or is this nonsense? I don't know. Robert Sanchez, Marco Correa and Caicedo are current members of the Blues squad to have made the move from the Amex, with and head coach Enzo Maresca is tempted to raid the West Londoners' Premier League rivals again in the coming months. Although Chelsea forked out 20 million to land Jorgensen from Villarreal last summer, there remains a willingness to improve their options between the sticks after a number of errors have resulted in them being in danger of missing out on bagging a Champions League spot. Chelsea could attempt to recruit Verbruggen as their new first-choice shotstopper ahead of the new season, according to Give Me Sports sources, as there is a belief behind the scenes that he has the traits to be a good fit for what they want as they look to return to becoming regular challengers for the Premier League title. The Blues are in danger of facing an uphill battle to reach an agreement, as the Netherlands international still has more than 3 years remaining on his current 35 grand a week contract. And Brighton head coach Fabian Hertzler will be determined to retain his services due to being among the first names on the team sheet. But Give Me what sources have been informed that Chelsea are eyeing Verbruggen, who played a key role in the Seagulls' advance to the FA Cup quarter-finals over the weekend, after Maresca and influential figures have decided to continue considering the addition of a new keeper. West Londoners will have to part with a considerable sum in order to win the race for the 22-year-old, as rival interest from Bundesliga tabletoppers Bayern Munich has resulted in Brighton holding out for a minimum of 50 million. While Maresca is facing further competition from Manchester United. Give Me what sources have learned, but Chelsea are keeping a close eye on his performances and weighing up offering a route to Stamford Bridge as preparations are made for next season. Yeah, I don't know what to make of all that. The 16-year-old lad, Gabriel Meck, discussions are ongoing between Gremio and Chelsea for the 16-year-old. No agreement has been reached yet, but Chelsea are obviously in discussions to do that. Brother, that shouldn't even be a question. Petrovic all day long. Agreed, no way, 50 mil. I wouldn't say Verbruggen is mediocre by any stretch of the imagination, but what I would say is that if we're going to sign a new goalkeeper, it needs to be a considerable improvement on what we've currently got. And I don't see Verbruggen being a considerable improvement on what we currently have on the books. in terms of what, for me personally, would be the best solution is, look, we know that the goalkeeping situation isn't ideal at the football club. However, the club have invested at least £100 million on goalkeepers over the last few windows. Arguably, none of them are really good enough, if we're being brutally honest, in terms of are any of these goalkeepers actually Premier League winning goalkeepers. Sanchez certainly isn't. It's too early to tell with Penders, and it's probably too early to tell with Philip Jorgensen as well. But the goalkeeping market is not great. We've got greater priorities in the squad, like a centre-back, a striker, and a left winger. That a goalkeeper, whilst would be great to get a new one, it's not the biggest priority this summer. For me, Petrovic coming back and being the number one makes the most sense. But that means, of course, that this summer, that one of Sanchez, Jorgensen, or Petrovic needs to leave. Now, the obvious solution is to bin off Robert Sanchez. The problem is, what sort of market is there going to be for Sanchez? I think in an ideal scenario, Petrovic and Jorgensen are competing for the number one shirt next year. Sanchez is binned off, and Mike Penders goes on loan to Strasbourg to replace Petrovic, who's been at Strasbourg this season. So that would be the ideal situation. Of course, Chelsea have been linked with Kelleher, the Liverpool goalkeeper, in the past. There's been historical interest in Diogo Costa at Porto. So again, there are possibilities there. There are possibilities there, but again, as I've said, it's not the biggest priority for me. I'd love a new goalkeeper, but only a top level goalkeeper for me. That's going to make the difference. Yeah, look, he's not a bad goalkeeper, by the way. He's not a bad goalkeeper, but what we're saying here is that have you got more chance of winning a Premier League title with Verbruggen in goal than you do with a Jorgensen or you do with a Petrovic? I think it's very much a negligible difference on that front. Sure, I would agree that he is better than what we've got, but again, we shouldn't just sign someone because he's better than what we've got, because what we've got is not very good. You should only be signing someone if they are a considerable upgrade on what we've currently got. And I wouldn't say that Verbruggen's like, oh wow, like a transformative signing in the goalkeeping department. I personally wouldn't see it that way. Does he make mistakes in every match? No, who are we talking about here? I've got absolutely no idea. I honestly, genuinely can't see another Premier League club wanting to sign Robert Sanchez unless he was a second or third choice goalkeeper. I legitimately can't see any Premier League club wanting to sign him. I don't know what you get from him. We paid, what, 20, 25 million pounds for him? Honestly, if we got 15 million quid for Robert Sanchez, it would be an absolute miracle if we got that money for him. Get Petrovic back, no brainer. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you send Penders to Strasbourg. You've been off Sanchez, and as I said, you do that. Yeah, look, these are good options. Kelleher will be a cheaper option for sure. And yeah, Kelleher, I think, is almost certain to leave Liverpool this summer because we've got Mamardashvili coming in. Alisson's still there. And Kelleher is good enough to be a number one goalkeeper. I wouldn't have an issue with Kelleher being signed. My thing would be, though, is Kelleher, are we saying that is Kelleher much better than Petrovic, for example? I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't say there was an awful lot in it either way. I wouldn't look at Kelleher and say, wow, this guy is significantly better than Petrovic. So, you know, if we were to sign Kelleher and it meant Petrovic leaving, I don't really view that as an upgrade. But again, these are all sort of ifs and buts right now surrounding the goalkeeping situation. I don't really know how he's doing, to be honest. The club just needs to clear all the slack and cut their losses. I would agree. Loan Sanchez because they need it and keep Petrovic. Well, bro, whatever it takes to get rid of Sanchez, we just do it. Bro, Ortega's not coming. Magnan I mean, Jan's gone off the boil a little bit. I'll probably say out of three of them, Costa would be the best one. But if you sign another goalkeeper this summer, then two of Sanchez, Jorgensen, and Petrovic need to leave. So then you're really looking at it. You've just signed Jorgensen; he's probably not going to leave. So if you sign another goalkeeper, you're basically saying that you've got to sell two of the three that are already at the club. Was he playing him at right back against Bruges? Is that what he's doing? I mean, fair enough, fair enough. Yeah, I don't. For me, I don't see it. I really don't see. I really don't see what the fuss about Verbruggen. I'm not saying he's bad, but I mean, guys, if you're looking at spending that much money, I don't see it. I just don't see it personally. I think we'd be better off sticking with Petrovic and Jorgensen, and then reassess in summer 2026. Now we've got no money to buy top players. Look, let's wait and see what happens in the summer. You know, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I'm a financial expert, and no fan should be pretending they're financial experts, because they're not. Let's see what happens come the summer. You know, Chelsea will have money to spend. Will it be a lot of money? I don't know, but there will be money to spend this summer. So I really wouldn't worry about looking at numbers on spreadsheets and seeing debt and this and that. Guys, we're fans at the end of the day. All I'm concerned about is what my football club is doing on the pitch and what my football club is doing in the transfer market to get better. Okay? If we're still able to buy players and improve the squad and we're in debt, so be it. You know, so be it. If we sell Sanchez for like 20 mil, get rid of him. Yeah, we need to get rid of him. We do need to get rid of him. But yeah, look, I think Penders is the one that they're looking at and are really pinning the sort of the long-term hopes on is him. You know, he's 19 years old. He's now the first choice goalkeeper again. He will come to Chelsea in the summer. Obviously, I don't think he's going to go in and compete straight away for the number one shirt. That really wouldn't make much sense at all. The obvious one is a loan move to Strasbourg. You know, Strasbourg will be losing Petrovic, so makes perfect sense to send Mike Penders to Strasbourg for a year of football in a better league than he's been playing in to continue his development. That makes the most sense. Then you sell Sanchez, you sell Kepa, and you have Petrovic and Jorgensen competing for the number one shirt, and then you see what happens in the summer of 26 if it's any better, if the goalkeeping market is any better, or if any of your current goalkeepers have, you know, developed to a level that you think, actually, do you know what? These are half serious. That would be a good idea. But again, we don't tend to do good ideas, do we? We don't tend to do things that make an awful lot of sense in the transfer market. But that 100% makes sense. So yeah, that is kind of the latest on the goalkeeping situation. There's a few names there: Verbruggen, Kelleher, Costa. I'll be real, guys. I don't see any of these happening in the summer. I don't see a new goalkeeper coming in. And I don't want to see a new goalkeeper coming unless we've already signed a striker, a left winger, and a centre-back. I don't want to see a goalkeeper coming in before any of those positions are addressed this summer. Brother, you are tripping, because we're not going to buy a Gyökeres. Why would we sell Jackson? So yeah, bro. For sure, we shouldn't be selling Nico Jackson. I do agree that we need two strikers this summer. I really do. You send Mark Guillou on loan to play regular football. You have Nicholas Jackson plus, in an ideal scenario, right? For me, when you're competing on four fronts, you should have three strikers in the squad. And I look at that and I think, right, ideal scenario, Jackson, Delap, Gyökeres. That is the ideal scenario. I'm fully aware that ideal scenario is not going to happen, by the way. But in an ideal world, you have three centre forwards to choose from when you're competing on four fronts. Do you reckon Kobel from Dortmund? Yeah, look, Gregor Kobel is another goalkeeper that's been linked with Chelsea. I think he'd do reasonably well at the club. But again, look, guys, I would take a lot of this information, a lot of these links. Don't take them for absolute gospel. A lot can change right now between now and the summer transfer window. But obviously, you know, work will be taking place behind the scenes, and things will be being done. The planning process will be taking place. So yeah, let's wait and see what happens. But that's the latest on a little bit of goalkeeper news. Bro, that's whatever happens now. Roman's never coming back to Chelsea. That's not happening, people. So, you know, we thank him for everything that he's done. We're forever grateful. But he won't be coming back to Chelsea as an owner. You know, the only way that he will ever come back is if he ever comes to the ground again. That's it. You know, this idea that people think he might come back as an own us again, it's not happening. It's fantasy. So you guys need to just forget about that, unfortunately. I wouldn't buy Welbeck, but Joao Pedro is another one. But again, you know, he'll be very, very expensive, guys. Very, very expensive. I wouldn't say they're obsessed with goalkeepers. We just haven't got it right whatsoever. We've signed a lot of goalkeepers and not got it right. So, yeah. Do I trust them to get it right this summer if we go for another one? Not necessarily, because I don't think they've got it right with any of them so far. Yeah, we need 3 strikers. And we've only got 1 right now. I'm not really counting Mark Guiu because he's still young, inexperienced. Ideally, he needs to go and have a loan. I honestly think that a Guiu loan to Strasbourg next season would be absolutely ideal. A Mark Guiu loan to Strasbourg. Let's get that shit done. Let's get that shit done next season. I've got absolutely no idea. I don't know if we'll go for that. Brother, that report that the EU had loosened their sanctions has been is not true. You know, it's not true. That's been denied. So yeah, I saw that report as well. I saw a lot of people getting very excited by it, but that report has subsequently been confirmed to be wide of the mark. The EU haven't dropped sanctions on Roman. So there we go. I've got absolutely no idea if he is or not. I've got absolutely no idea if he is or not. And yeah, look, who knows? I don't know what he's thinking, but I wouldn't have thought it's something that will happen. No, I don't think so. Yeah, and all of Brighton's strikers will probably start for us in terms of Ruta, Joao Pedro, and Danny Welbeck. So yeah. But yeah, guys, that's sort of the little latest on a few goalkeeping links. Let's wait and see what happens come the summer. Let's see how Jorgensen develops for the rest of this season. Let's see what Petrovic does at Strasbourg. But those two, in my opinion, they should absolutely be competing for the #1 shirt next season. Send Penders to Strasbourg, bin off Robert Sanchez, and we move. Moving away from goalkeeping situation, guys, we are going to have a little bit of a look at the situation surrounding the midfield, because again, don't take these links for gospel, people, but we're just going to go through it anyway because it's been reported. Bayern Munich are monitoring Atletico Madrid midfielder Pablo Barrios, with Chelsea also interested. Atletico want to keep the player. Let's see what this CF Bayern, if we can find any information from him here. No, I don't think so. That must have been said somewhere else. Anyway, apparently Barrios. So Barrios is 21. So he obviously fits the age profile. He's now a Spanish international. He made his Spain debut last month. He has been keeping Gallagher out the side at Atletico Madrid. 21 years of age. He's obviously been a mainstay in the Madrid side this season. Made over 30 odd appearances in all competitions. But he has got a €100 million release clause in his contract, and he's also under contract with the club until 2028. So I look at this and I think, right, okay, guys, what's the plan here? What's the plan here? Because let's just presume that this is true, right? And let's just say somehow we end up signing Barrios. Okay, you've got Caicedo, Enzo, Lavia, Santos, Ugachukwu, KDH. That's 6. And then you add what? Barrios, 7. You don't need 7 central midfield players. So what I would say is that I think we can say, oh, we've got Amugu as well, by the way, 8. Okay, so what we can do here is we can definitely move some off. So we can say goodbye to Amugu going to Strasbourg next season. That's down to 7. We can say goodbye to KDH because he'll be sold or loaned. So that's down to 6. Okay, I think we can probably also say goodbye to Leslie Ugachukwu. That's then down to 5. So that's then down to Lavia, Enzo, Caicedo, Santos, plus, let's say, a Barrios or one more. Now, the only reason for me why any move for another midfield player, whether it's Barrios or someone else, would make any sense whatsoever is if Chelsea have got genuine long-term concerns about the fitness of Romeo Lavia. Now, I don't believe going out and signing another midfield player this summer actually makes any sense whatsoever. I really don't see the value in us going to sign another midfield player this summer. Amugu's going on loan to Strasbourg. Yeah, you know, he'll be the Andre Santos replacement at Strasbourg. And I don't get why we'd be signing another midfield player, even right if they're concerned about Lavia's fitness issues. Okay, fine, but then Andre Santos is coming into the squad. You've got an Ugachukwu still as well that you can use. Why, if you want 5 midfield players, right, which I think you probably need, you need 5 midfield players. Why would you not have Enzo, Caicedo, Lavia, Santos, Ugachukwu as your 5 midfield options? What is wrong with that? Why would you go and sell an Ugachukwu to then go and bring in another midfield player? I don't understand that. I really don't believe that another midfield player is of any priority whatsoever, unless, of course, they're planning to sell someone in midfield this summer. And I don't mean a KDH or an Ugachukwu. I specifically mean an Andre Santos. Now, everything that's being said is indicating that Andre Santos is going to be a key part of the squad for next season. But we've heard this many times before. You know, we were told that Andre Santos wouldn't be going on loan this season. We were told that Andre Santos had a high chance of being part of the Chelsea squad for this season. That didn't turn out to be true. Now that we're hearing that Chelsea are really happy with his development, he's going to be a key part of the project moving forward. He's going to be a key part of the squad next season. I would love to believe that, but unfortunately, the evidence under this ownership shows that it's very hard to believe that. Now, if a big offer for Andre Santos came in, because we know that Bayern Munich are interested, and I'm sure that other big clubs around Europe are going to be monitoring him, would Chelsea really say no to it? I think we signed him for about £13 million. If an offer of £50, £60 million for Andre Santos was put on the table this summer, are Chelsea really saying no to that? Personally, I would like to think so, but personally, I don't believe they are. I do not believe they are, guys. So what are we saying here? What are we saying here? I don't get it. I honestly don't get it. Like, why would we need another striker? Why? Not a striker, sorry. Why would we need another? Why do we need another midfield player? It literally makes no sense. I mean, some of the thought process at the football club, you're just like, what's going on here? But again, as I said, don't believe everything you read. But you know, this won't be totally fabricated and made up. Okay, they might be running with the truth a little bit on this, but maybe there is some interest somewhere from Chelsea. Ugochukwu was needed and wasted as the Saints are relegated. Yeah, we could have used Ugochukwu this season, absolutely. Yeah, this is it. I've said it, on my own channel as well. This summer transfer window is the most important transfer window under this ownership, because what we do this summer will determine whether we're going to compete for major trophies in the coming years or whether we aren't, whether we're just happy being a top 4, top 5 team. That is what this summer is gonna tell us. Because if we don't address what we do this summer, then or we need this summer, sorry, then we're consigning ourselves to mediocrity for the next 4 or 5 years. It's as simple as that. This is the single most important window under this ownership, and we absolutely have to get it right. Yeah, Barrios is a good young player, by the way. Good young player. But again, I wouldn't say someone we need. And for the reported price tag, absolutely not. Flying to Copenhagen tomorrow. Last time we was there, at least so we played Copenhagen was in the Champions League in 2011, I think. Anelka scored twice in that game. The good times. Tell you what, like, obviously not being in a Champions League is really shit. But on nights like tonight, when you've got the big knockout games, you do really miss it, and you do feel utterly useless. You feel utterly useless when you're just sat at home watching, knowing that your team should be there. Yeah, 1998. Fair enough, brother. Fair enough. Yeah, we need to get back in there this season. Sorry, we have to get back in there. I hate watching Champions League football and just knowing that we're not in it. But the truth be told, people, we're not ready. Like, if we were in a Champions League this season, we would have got smashed. We would have got absolutely smashed. So it is what it is, people. Look, Chelsea are always going to be linked with players. Chelsea's name is always going to be used with players, even if it's the loosest link possible, because that's going to generate clicks and get conversation going. But we need that Champions League anthem back, guys. We need the Champions League anthem back at Stamford Bridge, because that is one thing for sure that is being missed. We was ready until these owners came. Yeah, look, obviously we're a Champions League side. We do you know what though? I don't disagree with revamping the squad. The issue is what was brought in to replace what went out. I think the revamp of the squad was far too quick. We should have gradually phased players out rather than getting rid of them all at once and then getting rid of all those players and then not bringing in any experience to replace the experience. Mistakes were absolutely made in that process. And some pretty big mistakes were made in that process. When you're revamping the squad and you're clearing the squad out, which majority of Chelsea fans acknowledged that a squad clear out was needed, but it probably should have been done more gradually. And that's the reality of the situation. I don't know why there was such a big rush to get the revamp and the clear out of the squad done so quickly. But yeah, it's done now, and we just got to hope that this summer we absolutely get our shit together, because if we don't, we're gonna be in trouble, guys. If we don't, we are gonna be in trouble. That's the reality here, guys, and we don't want to be in trouble. We don't want to be in trouble. But again, at the same time, guys, is there any faith or any trust in the powers that be and the decision makers that we will actually get what we need to get? I don't think so. I really don't believe we're going to get what we're going to get, what we need. They might sign what they want, Sure. No, I don't doubt that the club will get what the club wants, but I highly doubt it will be what we actually need to take us forward to the next level, and that is the issue here. Um, Bro, we're not going to get rid of the owners. That's not going to happen. Okay, all we can try and do is force change and get the recruitment model changed. But again, are they too far down the road to try and get that done? I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. But the pressure's got to be kept on. The pressure absolutely has to be kept on. Yeah, look, we just need more proven players in general, guys. More proven players in general. But they're also not going to sell, bro. So, AC Milan fans into their stadium. Yeah, they did. They did. They did. But European clubs are a lot better at doing that kind of protest, that kind of statement than Premier League clubs are. You would never, you're highly unlikely to see that happen at a Premier League ground. That's the reality. Yeah, they are looking at Gabriel Mech again. Yeah, there will be some pressure, but again, it's got to be kept up. You can't just do one and then leave it, But again, I think rather than those protests outside the ground, which look, it was a good turnout, and it got coverage in the media and whatnot, and they were made aware of it. The more powerful protest is things like coming in after the first 15 minutes or leaving 15 minutes early or whatever it might be. That is a more powerful form of protest than some banners and some chanting outside the ground. So whilst look, it's a good start, you can't just leave it at that. There's got to be more, and I worry whether there is going to be any more. If we're serious as a fan base about trying to get some level of change, then there needs to be something else planned before the end of the season. There needs to be something else planned before the end of the season. So we're gonna see what happens, guys. We are gonna see what happens in that regard. But yeah, look, midfield makes no sense to me. Makes absolutely no sense to me unless they're planning to do some sort of a madness and sell Andre Santos. But again, I don't know whether that's going to be true or not. Yeah, I mean, I could do, to be honest. I could do. I could certainly do a watch along for the game. I'll be live tomorrow on my channel doing a preview for Copenhagen game. So yeah, I'll let people decide. I'll let people decide. But there won't be a watch along on Chelsea Fan TV. No. Yeah, we absolutely do. But yeah, look, Barrios, good player. Don't see him leaving Atletico Madrid. He's under contract until 2028, 100 million euro release clause, and they are keen to extend his stay at the club. So it really, really does not make sense, guys, as to why Chelsea would make that move. Really doesn't make sense. So we're gonna see, guys. We're gonna see what happens. Who do you think will win, Charlie? Over 2 legs, I think Arsenal go through. I'd be very, very surprised if Arsenal didn't go through over 2 legs against PSV. But PSV are no mugs. They're not bad, They're not bad, guys. They're really not. But yeah. So yeah, look, that's the midfield scenario. But in terms of other transfer links, there's not really too many others that are doing the rounds right now. Obviously, yes, Chelsea are interested in Gabriel Mek, the 16-year-old from Gremio. He's apparently been dubbed the next Neymar. Again, I don't think he's made his first team debut for Gremio yet. But yeah, I mean, it looks like that could be another one there. I, I really don't know. But if there's money, there to buy these kids and spend 15, 16 million euros on teenagers, then there damn well better be money there to improve the first team squad. Because if there's no money there to improve the first team squad this summer, there's going to be serious, serious problems, and there's going to be serious, serious outrage from the fans, and rightly so. Rightly so. I think, look, for me, Paez, I think, will go on loan, whether it's to Strasbourg, whether it's somewhere else. I think Kendry Paez will go on loan. Esteval, I think, will be part of the first team squad. But I agree with you, bro. You can already sense that there's going to be a ridiculous amount of pressure on this kid. And I don't think people understand it's not healthy to put this guy in a position where he needs to come in and contribute from the off. That's not what this should be about. He should be able to come in, play some games here and there, bed himself in, be gradually introduced to the team like that. He should not be put into a situation where he has to come in and he's expected to make an instant impact. That cannot happen. That cannot happen. He's got to be managed correctly. We've got to put him in the right environment, and we've got to bed him in carefully. But I'm with you. People see what he's doing in Brazil. People see the type of goals that he's scoring. People see the numbers that he's putting up. There's real hype around this kid. He's a potential future superstar, but we've got to keep our feet on the ground, and we've got to make sure that we don't put too much pressure on him. Because look, he's 18 years of age when he'll be 18 years of age when he arrives, and this is a massive, massive move for him. It's a huge move for his family if they come. It's a new country, new surroundings, new league, new style of play, all these things. And that takes time. That takes an adaptation period. So as a fan base, we absolutely cannot expect too much, and we absolutely can't be putting ridiculous levels of pressure on him. But I worry that the fan base, or not the fan base as a whole, but certainly sections of the fan base will put a lot of pressure on him, and people will be disappointed because people will have built up in their own minds unrealistic expectations of what to expect from the likes of Paez, the likes of Esteval when they arrive. And then when they don't hit those expectations, they're then going to be very disappointed, and they're going to take that frustration out on the players themselves. And actually, it's their unrealistic expectations in the first place that have caused issues. I hope Chelsea win the Conference League. We need a trophy. I'll be fuming if we don't get to the final. Yeah, we have to win it. It's as simple as that. We must win the Conference League. Yeah, look, who knows? Impossible to say, but it absolutely would not be a surprise in one bit whatsoever. It would not be a surprise at all, guys. Wouldn't be a surprise at all. So we see people. I mean, what are your thoughts, guys, on expectations for Esteval, particularly? What are you saying on the pressure and stuff, guys? Let me know. Who do I think will win the UCL? I don't know. Maybe Bayern Munich potentially a PSG, but you also can't look past Real Madrid. But I also wouldn't be surprised if Atletico went the distance. We don't get Champions League and don't get top four. Yeah, bro, there's quite a few ifs and buts there, but I hear you. We don't get the Champions League and we don't win the Conference League. Disastrous season, absolutely disastrous. We will find out in the press conference tomorrow. The likes of Madueke, Jackson, Giu, etc., they definitely won't be back. But if anyone's going to be back, it could well be Chalobah. I'd expect Chalobah to be back, and maybe Badiashile might be back as well. But we will obviously find out with Maresca's press conference for the Copenhagen game taking place tomorrow, I believe. Yeah, tomorrow. Well, look, if we win the Conference League, we're guaranteed to be Europa League absolute minimum, which is why it's important we win that, because there's no guarantees we get that through the league. Yes, we're 2 points off third, but we're also only 4 points off 10th. I mean, look at how difficult our fixtures are we've got coming up. We've got to put a run of form together that we've not been able to put together for a few months. So that's going to be, very, very tricky. I want Esteban on loan or part of the first team. If he gets dropped to boys football, his development is done. Yeah, no, he's not going to get dropped to the development squad. Absolutely not. He'll either go straight into the first team squad or he'll be loaned out. I'm certainly hoping it's, I don't know, is it the latter? Do I want him loaned out? It depends who else we sign. It depends who we sign. But for me personally, I think he is good enough to come in and contribute to the first team, but there should be no pressure or no expectation on him, and he should be gradually eased in. But if there's a top loan available, whether it's a Strasbourg or whether it's somewhere else, if there's a very good loan available and he can go and play week in, week out in Europe, in European football, and in one of Europe's top 5 leagues and play, say, Champions League or Europa League, then that could very well be a good thing. Yeah, that's not going to be until after the international break. How many points do I expect out of our remaining fixtures? What is there left? 11 games left. So 11 times 3 is 33. How many points do I expect? I don't know, to be honest. 15 maybe. I mean, let's bring that up on screen. Let's bring that up on screen. So we've got the Chelsea fixtures. What have we got left? Right, let me just zoom in on this, guys. So I'm going to bring it up on screen now. So Leicester on Sunday, 3 points. Arsenal away, I've got to be honest, I think we get 0. So that's 3. Go 6. 1 point at Brentford, 7. 10. That could be tough. I think no points there. 13. No points. No points. Draw 14. Yeah, I think 15 points, guys. I think 15 points. I think we get 15 points from our remaining 11 games, which is not great at all. But I reckon it's 15 from the remaining 11. Win, lose, win, draw, win, lose, win, lose, lose, draw. Yeah, that's not ideal. Let's say, all right, let's say we get 15 points right from those remaining games. What if we do get 15 points? What points total would we finish on? If we were to get 15 points from those remaining fixtures, which is a possibility, Chelsea with 46, it'll be 56, 57, 58, 59, 60. We finish on 61 points. Would 61 points be enough for a top 5 finish? Well, again, but top 5 would probably get us Champions League football. So would 61 points be enough for a top 5 finish? It'll be very much touch and go, but I think it won't take a massive total to get top 4, top 5 this season because of how inconsistent all the teams have been that are competing for those Champions League spaces. So I think, yeah, maybe 64, maybe 61, 62 points could be enough to get you Champions League football. It's absolutely a possibility, people. It's absolutely a possibility that you could get Champions League football with that points total. Yes, big up, brother. As long as a loan move is not to a Madrid. Yeah. We're all good. Sure, we can, but our away form at big teams is poor this season. It's been poor for a number of years in general. But Arsenal missing their first choice front line could certainly help us. We won't have our first choice front line. So, look, we could potentially get something from that, but I'm purely saying we won't because of our record, basically, this season. Yeah, it is. But however, if it gets us Champions League football, no one will be complaining about the points total if we somehow scrape into the Champions League. No one is complaining about the points total. I think we need to get draws against Arsenal, Newcastle, and Liverpool somehow. Yeah, we need to somehow do that. We lose versus Tottenham without Jackson. I don't think we do. We always beat Tottenham. It almost feels like it doesn't really matter to a degree what 11 goes out against Spurs. We tend to always beat them. So, yeah, but again, that Spurs game is the first game back after the international break, isn't it? It's like April 3rd or something. That's the first game back after the international break. That might be touch and go for some of these guys to be back for. What we absolutely don't want to be doing is rushing players back. We absolutely do not want to be rushing players back, guys. So, yeah. We'll wait and see. Yeah, but the season's more important than beating Spurs twice, you know. That's kind of a given. Beating Spurs twice. But what's really important is getting Champions League football. If it was a case of beat Spurs twice but miss out on Champions League football, I'd rather lose to Spurs twice and make sure we qualify for the Champions League. You know, that's the reality. Champions League football at all costs. And that means losing. If that means we lose the Spurs as a result, then so be it. But yeah, look, it's got to be Champions League football at all costs, guys. Champions League football at all costs. But yeah, I mean, what else is going on, guys? I mean, yeah, I sort of thought it was nice to have a weekend off, but then when it drags into another week and you've got to wait until Thursday till you're playing, and there's not an awful lot of news going on, and there's not much news going on surrounding the club, you sort of think like, God, guys, we've got to get back into regular playing twice a week. I know that's coming back now, the Conference League and the knockout rounds and stuff, but yeah, Jesus, I don't want to go back to playing once a week. This week's been a little bit of a slog. You don't get much news. You're not playing. Other teams are playing, you know. So I'm very much looking forward to us being back in action against Copenhagen tomorrow night. Sorry, not tomorrow night, Thursday night. I mean, let's have a brief chat about that game, guys. I mean, let me know in the chat what you're expecting. I agree, Jordan. Tyreek George should start on Thursday. Absolutely agree on that front. This will be a tricky game. You know, obviously the draw has helped us out in a sense that we can't meet Fiorentina or Betis until the final, and it will be one of those two teams because they're on course, I think, to meet in the semi-finals. So, yeah, we've also been blessed in that regard. But Copenhagen are no mugs, particularly away from home. They gave Man City a good game at their ground in the Champions League last season. They beat Man United in the group stages, and they managed to go through a group that contains Man United, Galatasaray, and someone else. I can't remember. They managed to get through that group. And they came third in the Danish league last season, which is why they're in the Conference League. But they're back top of the Danish league this season. Conference League, they've lost 1 or 2 games in the league phase. But look, I fully expect us to go through over 2 legs. But do I expect us to win in Copenhagen tomorrow, on Thursday? I don't expect to win against certainly in that first leg, but I think we're capable. But that'll be difficult. It will be difficult. I would say this is the best team that we would have faced so far in the competition. And so, yeah, we're going to have to be at it. But I don't have any concerns about us not going through. I think we will. I'm almost certain we go through, particularly over 2 legs. I'd be a little bit more concerned if it was just 1 leg and it was Thursday night. I'd be slightly more concerned. But yeah, I'm confident that we absolutely. I'm confident we go through. Very, very confident, guys. But it'll be difficult, you know. What would he go with? Would he? I think Achimpong needs to play. I'd play Tyreek George. Does he play Caicedo and Enzo in this game? Does he go with a Mugu? Does he play Dewsbury Hall? You know, there are decisions to be made here. We've got an important game against Leicester on Sunday, but I don't know which game out of the two is more important. They're both important. I suppose if you're going to lose one, you'd rather lose that Copenhagen game because obviously you've got another shot at it. You know, you've got another shot at it next week. Whereas the Leicester game, you know, if you don't get maximum points in that, that's again 1 game less and it's points dropped. And again, it massively dents your chances of finishing in the top 4, top 5. So I would say that the Leicester game is more important purely based on the fact that we've got another shot at Copenhagen next week. I've got absolutely no idea what's going on with Madrid. There's been radio silence ever since the initial news came out. I don't know what's happening. I really do not know what is happening with the Madrid situation. I wouldn't be surprised. I think Tyreek George absolutely should be starting this game. Maybe you could start Josh Achimpong. I don't know. Maybe you could start Achimpong. But yeah, let's wait and see. But certainly, you know, I wonder if his team selection will have half an eye on Leicester on Sunday or not. I'm not sure. There'll definitely have to be some thought process there. Yeah, it probably will be Sanchez in goal because he's now the cup goalkeeper, isn't he? So it probably will be Sanchez in goal. Yeah, that is a slight worry. But again, hopefully he's not going to have that much to do. But yeah, Cucurella will play because there's not really anyone else to go at left back. Right back, do you go Achimpong or Gusto? Midfield, do you go Enzo Caicedo? Do you go Dewsbury Hall? Do you play Matissa Mugu? Do you know, what do you do in there? I presume you continue with Pedro Neto down the middle. Do you play Sancho? Do you play Cole Palmer, who is now available for this? Do you play Shimwaheka, the young striker? Do you give him an opportunity? There are actually, surprisingly, quite a few decisions that need to be made. There are surprisingly quite a few decisions that need to be made, which you wouldn't really expect for a game like this. But now, and this is where we could, let's say, struggle, but this is where we could be effective much more than earlier in the season, is because so many of our squad players are now gone. We let 5 players go in January who were all part of the Conference League squad and contributed in the Conference League, coupled with the fact that we've got injuries in key areas of the pitch. We now actually, for the Conference League, we don't really have that many options, guys. So we're now in a situation where we don't have many options to actually rotate on a Thursday night. And the Sunday games now are going to be a bit more difficult. You know, we haven't got the numbers to rotate on a Thursday and a Sunday, and we haven't. And now we're going to have. And now, you know, you're not going to rotate as much because you're getting into the more advanced stages of the competition. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how we how we deal with that. It would be very interesting to see how we deal with that now, with less rotation taking place, because we haven't got the options and we've got injuries in key areas. So yeah, I don't know, guys. I really don't know. But ultimately, it's going to be like that if we're in the Champions League next season. These players need to get used to that. A lot of these players should already be used to that, and it's part and parcel of being a footballer at a top club. You're going to have to play every few days. That's the reality. Will Umugu start? Is it worth playing Caicedo? I personally would play Caicedo in this game, and then wouldn't play Caicedo against Leicester, because Caicedo's one booking away from a 2-match ban, and we absolutely cannot afford for him to not be available for the trip to the Emirates. So for me, I play Caicedo tomorrow night. I wouldn't play him against Leicester because of the yellow card. Play him against Arsenal, and then we move from there. If he misses Brentford and Ipswich at home, or Brentford and Spurs at home, or whatever, I'd rather him miss those games than miss the trip to the Emirates. That's the reality of the situation, guys. So there we go. There we go. No, I hear you. We wouldn't have been ready for it this season. Absolutely not, with the way the squad is. We wouldn't have been ready. Yeah, sure, we would have finished in the top 24 probably, but I wouldn't have seen us going much further than the playoff round or the round of 16. I wouldn't have seen that. Wouldn't have seen us going much further. The reality is the squad's not ready. So that's why I worry that if we do make Champions League this season, are they going to make the necessary adjustments to the squad, the necessary investment required in the areas required to take us to the next level for Champions League football? Because this squad's not ready for Champions League football. It's not ready to compete in the Champions League. It's not ready to go to the latter stages. It needs more experience, it needs more quality, and it needs key positions filling. That's the reality. Yeah, it's probably ready for the Europa League, but the squad absolutely is not Champions League ready. Is not Champions League ready. So there we go, guys. There we go. That's the reality of the situation. But look, it's still possible. It's still possible. It's still possible, guys. I don't believe we'll get Champions League football, but it's not beyond the realms of impossibility. We are banging the race. But having said that, we could also miss out on Europe altogether. 4 points above 10th, difficult fixtures. We will drop more points between now and the end of the season. So we have to win the Conference League, because there's no guarantee we actually qualify for the Champions League or the Europa League through the league. So we need to win the Conference League. That's going to be our best chance of getting European football next season, in my opinion. Yeah, I'll watch the Madrid derby, I think. So yeah, we will have to wait and see on that front, guys. We will have to wait and see on that front, people. We must wait and see. But yeah, guys, I am gonna round this one out here. Big up to everyone that's tuned in, people. Appreciate each and every single one of you. I know there's not an awful lot of news to go round with, but appreciate all of you for tuning in. We will be back again tomorrow lunchtime with a show, so make sure you stay tuned for that one. I think it's Alex doing that one tomorrow, so make sure you stay tuned, guys. And yeah, enjoy whatever Champions League game you're watching tonight. Enjoy the rest of the day, your day, wherever you are in the world. And we will catch you again in another show tomorrow. So guys, until then, take care, up the Chelsea, and we're out. Peace.